Have you ever found yourself searching for your lost shaker of salt in a Chili's? Well, then today's episode is just for you because we're talking about margaritas. Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of Channeling Hallmark, the podcast where we talk about all the things that make us feel warm and fuzzy, like when you take a sip from a cold drink while you're sitting on a hot beach. We're your hosts, Dylan Cashbaugh.
And Keetin Murky.
And today, in honor of National Margarita Day, we're reviewing the new Lifetime movie?
No.
Short film?
I don't know.
Advertisement?
Maybe.
Whatever you want to call it. We'll be reviewing I'll Be Home for National Margarita Day presented by Chili's. Yes, that is actually the title of it. And not only that, we'll be talking to someone who has taken mixing drinks and elevated it to an art form.
I'm very excited because this means I get to drink margaritas in addition to the delicious tea that we are sipping on.
Ooh, tell me about that tea that we're sipping on.
So we picked this tea specifically because I swear I've had a margarita in the same flavor at some point. This is cranberry blood orange tea, black tea to be exact, from the Republic of Tea. Let's sip on this. Oh, it smells delightful. Oh my God, it smells so good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's lovely. That would taste delicious as a margarita.
That's true.
Those flavors are incredible together. And it's like not too, do you know what it kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of our little marmalade tea that we had with Paddington, but it's a little kind of more, got a little more kick to it in my opinion.
Yeah,
but
I think it's a little stronger of a flavor really than that was.
Yeah, it's very good. Cranberry blood orange, Republic of Tea, round black tea bag. Check it out. It's delicious.
Republic of Tea really does come through.
I love them.
I know, right?
I really do. They do a lot of good collabs.
We got to get them to sponsor us because
Dreams.
I just want to drink their
Let's
tea all the time.
Let's manifest it. Republic of Tea, hi.
But despite the fact that we have this wonderful tea, we're not going to spill it. Instead, we're going to sip some hot cocoa.
Yes, we are.
Keetin, do you have any hot cocoa for us this week?
I do. And I know you guys have been on this journey with these sweet little foster puppies with us, but it's looking like our time as foster mom and dad is coming to an end. Last week, it was wonderful to see our little Oscar get adopted, and it looks like Archie might be getting adopted tomorrow. But as bittersweet as it is just so wonderful to see these two pups and these two boys go to homes that seem really, really perfect for them. And that's kind of my hot cocoa because it gives me the warm and fuzzies, but also makes me kind of tear up a little bit because they are such good boys and they're going to make some families really, really happy.
I'm going to need a margarita after this because this is making me really sad.
I don't want to think about it.
But also, you totally stole my hot cocoa too because that's exactly what I was going to say is I have never fostered a dog before and I didn't really know what to expect. I knew that, knowing me, there was a risk of kind of getting a little too attached. And I really thought I was doing a good job of stopping that until the last week when I really started to fall for our little guy, Archie. He is such a sweet boy and he feels like such a great part of our life right now. And I know that it's the right thing for him to go to this amazing home, but I'm still going to be really sad when it happens.
I feel like we're going to have a piece missing from our home. Mind you, it has been the most chaotic 2 months of our lives, but it has been so rewarding and it's going to be heartbreaking. But I think what this has taught me is that, yes, I hope someday again we get to foster again. But then I also look forward to when we can find another special puppy to join our family because Archie has just, shown us that 3 dogs is okay. 4 dogs, not okay. Not 4, just 3.
Also, I don't know if I recommend fostering 2 puppies at once. It's a lot.
We've learned a lot.
We have. And now I'm ready to learn about I'll Be Home for National Margarita Day.
Oh, man. You and me both.
Keetin, what is the plot of I'll Be Home for National Margarita Day?
Well, this delightful, I don't know. I think I'd call it a short film. It's about 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Oscar requirements are for submissions, but
oh my God, is this going to be an Oscar contention?
I don't know. I would submit it. So let me tell you, when the big city life wasn't quite what she expected it to be, Liz decides to go back home for her favorite holiday, National Margarita Day. But when she goes to Chili's and runs into her ex, Sam, she starts to think that maybe the small town life is more her speed. Oh, and there's also this real estate mogul trying to bulldoze the community center on the same day that the town has a talent show planned that apparently includes dancing while dressed up in lime costumes. And yes, that takes place on National Margarita Day because apparently that's this town's most important day of the year.
And did we mention that it's presented by Chili's? This quote-unquote movie really comes across as more of an extended Chili's ad wrapped in a lifetime bow. But does that mean that it's not a good time? Does Chili's still bring the heart, or are they just here to sell margaritas? Or maybe what this guy who works in marketing is really asking is, can an advertisement also be art?
I mean, absolutely it can. You know, is this an award-winning film? Who knows? But I suggest they submit it to the Oscar short film list. But no, I think some of the most beautiful film art forms do come in short form. And like, you know, I just think back to some like really incredible Super Bowl commercials. Absolutely can advertisements be considered art? And I think advertisement is almost better when you do lean into the art a little bit more. Because for me, art means there's heart.
Oh.
Ooh. You like that marketing better?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I have worked on campaigns where obviously our goal is to make you feel something. And so I think the most successful ads oftentimes do tug at your heartstrings. Now, focusing in that broad idea too, I'll Be Home for National Margarita Day presented by Chili's. Was it effective for you as a story? Or was it effective for you as an ad? Or was it a little bit of both?
So it was definitely a little bit of both. I have not thought about going to Chili's in years,
Right.
except when I walk by it potentially in the airport. And even then I'm like, I don't know if my stomach wants to handle that today. But we have like been actively trying to plan now a trip to Chili's to go try all of these margaritas that they kind of brag about. And, you know, you got to love a little middle America chain restaurant situation. This is probably sacrilege when talking about Chili's, but one of my first jobs was at Applebee's.
Oh.
And so there is a huge nostalgia component for me for a Chili's, for an Applebee's, for a Olive Garden, a Outback Steakhouse. And I think us in LA, sometimes we forget that those chains do exist. And they're fun. They're fun and they're cheesy. And I think they were totally aware of what they were doing in this short film / advertisement. And they leaned in and I appreciated it. Like, I appreciated how cheesy it was and how they knew how cheesy it was. Kudos to Maria Menounos and Taye Diggs, who just really did not take themselves seriously with this.
Yeah, I also don't have a lot of like personal affection for Chili's. But I grew up in reasonably small town Indiana where we didn't have a lot of exciting, one-off interesting restaurants. I remember the highlight of the week for me for dinner was when we could go to a TGI Fridays or an Applebee's or something. I did sometimes go to Chili's, but I would say Chili's was usually not my favorite of the bunch. But yeah, watching this movie did give me a little bit of that nostalgia for that. I don't even know what you call them. The like chain sit-down restaurants, the like National Fridays, Applebee's, Olive Garden, Red Lobster, those kinds of places.
Chili's, baby back ribs, barbecue sauce. That's the last time that I felt like Chili's was relevant to me.
Wow.
And I don't know why that. I mean, I do know why that just popped in my head because all I've been thinking about is Chili's.
Yep.
And only on this podcast would we be reviewing this presented by Chili's.
I know that's I'm really happy that we have such
Day.
a vague definition of what channeling Hallmark is that it can include this essentially 15-minute extended ad.
Yes, we're gonna do this. But yeah, no, I know I've worked with Maria and I know she's done many a Lifetime movie, and her husband Kevin Undergaro was actually also in this short film. He played the bartender at the beginning of the movie, who Maria kind of was like, I'm leaving and I'm going to my hometown. So it was very fun to see both of them. I know they have a lot of experience. They have their own production company where they do these Lifetime Hallmarky type movies that they just started last year. So it was fun to see them kind of lean into this. And also, I love Taye Diggs. I love Taye Diggs since Rent. Like, but he's kind of jacked. He's bulky in this. I'm like, oh, muscles, boy. I mean, man.
That's apparently what Liz thought too when she was looking at him, because we saw those swooning looks.
I did. But again, I think they had the perfect amount of chemistry for like a Lifetime or Hallmark movie. This felt like a very sped up version of what could have been stretched out into an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think we've definitely seen some Lifetime and Hallmark movies where the leads have less chemistry than Maria Menounos and Taye Diggs had in this. So it felt like, even if the premise of this was absolutely ridiculous and not serious at all, they were still kind of taking it seriously, where they did feel reasonably authentic in this ridiculous scenario. And let's be clear, this is a ridiculous movie. I don't know how to describe it other than with the word ridiculous, because again, it's National Margarita Day is like the most important day to this town. Everybody dresses up for it. They have pageants and things related to it. It is just over the top silly, where Chili's is the center of this weird margarita universe.
The number of establishing shots that were just played either in reverse or in forward that they used in between cuts of scenes of a Chili's. It was just like, look at this beauty shot of a Chili's. Here, no, this is the same shot in reverse. But like, it was, again, I appreciate it because it wasn't trying to be anything other than what it set out to be. And I would say what it set out to be, I have never seen before. Yep. So kudos.
And in that note, there was some self-awareness that I really appreciated. Like I think twice used joke of, he seems like a villain from a Lifetime movie. That was great. I love that, poking fun at yourself, because how can you make something like this and not make fun of yourself a little bit? And I really appreciated that, where it felt like they were in on the joke in a really nice way.
All of the actors did. I felt like the tone, everybody agreed on the tone. Everybody was like, okay, this is ridiculous. And they leaned in, and it was all like, even the mom, how ridiculous and over the top she was. And like, but it also hit all those classic Hallmark or Lifetime movie like beats, right? It's like, somebody, whether boy or girl, like fed up with the big city, has to have a reason to go back home. The holiday, or a holiday of some kind, is what draws them there and makes them reevaluate their life choices. They run into an old flame and they start to kind of rekindle a flame. Then there's somebody, like some other external force that is causing havoc or potentially hurting the town, that then the two old flames have to reconnect and work together to fix that and to prevent it. It was literally just a little mini tiny Lifetime Hallmark movie. And it was, no notes.
The experience of watching this felt like if I had a good few margaritas and then I watched a Lifetime movie, and it felt like some weird fever dream of a movie experience where everything was happening so fast that I guess I could keep up with it, but it still felt somehow just bizarre, and like I still didn't totally understand what I was seeing the whole time.
When we go to Chili's this week to celebrate National Margarita Day, we will be watching this film while as we sit at the table and drink our margaritas. And if you think I'm lying to you, you are sorely mistaken. And any friends who also come with us to celebrate National Margarita Day will also be able to watch this incredible film with us.
Just note, to public service announcement, anyone going to Chili's to watch this movie, please still use headphones, respect your neighbors around you. Not everybody wants to hear the sweet, sweet sounds of I'll Be Home for National Margarita
What
Day.
if they want to also see it? We could just do a screening.
Oh my God, we need a viewing party at Chili's.
I bet you we could talk to the bartender and just say, hey, could you just, it's 15 minutes. Could you just attach this to the TV?
We need to do this. I
love
cannot
it.
wait.
I can't wait to make friends with the hunky bartender that looks like Taye Diggs at the Encino Chili's.
Dreams.
Dreams.
All right, so Keetin.
Yes.
We've heard a lot of your thoughts, but I want to hear what your marshmallow rating is for this.
Okay. Now, I've had 2 big weeks of marshmallow ratings of 10s out of 10. This is not going to get that high just because it was only 15 minutes long. But it made me laugh. It made me do asides to Dylan as I was watching. I appreciated it that it was only 15 minutes. It made me and my husband plan a date to go to Chili's to drink margaritas. So a lot of good warm and fuzzies with this movie. Also, it was fun to see Maria and Kevin again when I haven't seen them in a minute, but I would give this a 7.
Wow.
I'm going to give it a 7.
That's a sizable marshmallow rating for this.
I'm
not no judgment.
No, I understand that, but it's like it gave me those silly warm and fuzzies that a Hallmark movie or a Lifetime movie, I should say, should. But that's what marshmallow. This isn't. It doesn't have to be like a cinematic, feat.
Oh yeah.
It did what it needed to do, and it surprised me.
Yeah, I mean,
it did it so well.
I have seen 5-minute short films that I would give 10 marshmallows. I have seen advertisements that I would give 10 marshmallows.
So how many marshmallows will you give this, Dylan?
Yeah, it's not going to be 10 marshmallows.
No, I'm not expecting 10.
Honestly, I just want to be clear. This is my marshmallow rating.
Yes, I want to be clear. It's a marshmallow rating. It's a very specific type of rating.
My marshmallow rating for this
Uh-oh.
is 4 marshmallows.
Wow.
And I'm not saying that I didn't like it. In fact, I would actually recommend everybody should watch this. It's 15 minutes and it's fun and it's goofy. But did it really pull at my heartstrings? Did it make me feel warm and fuzzy? Not much. At most, it gave me that nostalgia for those TGI Fridays dinners that I had when I was a teenager. That's about the extent of the warm and fuzzy factor that this gave me. But again, I still enjoyed it. I think it was a fun 15-minute advertisement, but I wouldn't call it the most warm and fuzzy movie.
We should have gone to get margaritas before this recording.
That's a good point.
It's okay. We're going to go after.
Well, no, we're not. We're going to have some margaritas right now because you know who we have here?
Yes, we are.
We have our favorite bartender, Tad Tobey. And before we get to our interview with him, we're going to need to take a minute because he's going to make us some margaritas.
Ooh, ooh.
Are you ready for it, Keetin?
Shake. I am so ready for a margarita. I've just been talking. I just need it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Tad!
Today's guest is Tad Tobey, a bartender living in Los Angeles who has gained a reputation as one of the most innovative cocktail makers in a cocktail-loving town. And while I know Tad more as an innovative dungeon master in our D&D sessions, I can also personally vouch for the tastiness of his concoctions. But, Tad, we have to take this far more seriously than we do when we play D&D, so to ask the question that's on everyone's mind, does Chili's make the best margarita there is?
They very well might. I haven't had it in a long time.
But you have had one.
I have had one.
So I guess a little bit of context is we are currently sipping on margaritas that Tad made us. So Tad, in these amazing margaritas that we're making, What is it, I guess, that makes it maybe the perfect margarita, or at least a very good one?
Well, for me, I like my margaritas a little bit more on the tart side and a little bit on the salty side. So a good salt rim and heavy lime juice, or, just a healthy amount of lime juice and light syrup or light sugar.
Now, is it the quality of ingredients? Is that important to you?
Yes, fresh lime juice is key. You can't use sour mix like some restaurants with peppers might use.
We can neither confirm nor deny how Chili's makes their margaritas.
Someday we will infiltrate a Chili's just so we can find out.
I'm going to sit at the bar and I'm going to cozy up to one of those bartenders and be like, tell me how to make that margarita.
Well, I think apparently we have to ask Tay Diggs. Tay Diggs knows how.
Okay.
We'll have to get that.
It's a simple drink, right?
Yeah, 3 to 4 ingredients. I like them if you have a good, not too sweet orange liqueur, then go for it. But there's a lot of orange liqueurs like triple sec, too sweet for me. Cointreau, too sweet. But today I made them with one called Alma Finca, which is new on the market within the last year or so. It's from Mexico. It's an orange liqueur, but it has a little bit more spice to it. But it's very good.
This is cutting edge margarita
cutting
technology.
Edge. You may only be able to get it in California.
Mama Finca?
Alma Finca.
Alma Finca. So what is there did somebody invent the margarita? How did it become this just drink that is basically on every bar menu.
I have heard tale that a guy named Poncho may have made the margarita somewhere in Los Angeles.
Oh,
But cannot confirm. That's a tale. That's a legend.
So
the margarita legend.
The urban legend is that they come from Los Angeles?
That's an urban legend, yeah.
Wow. All right, so you are a bartender in Los Angeles. I feel like, in my experience, Los Angelinos love margaritas. Do you feel like it is one of the favorite drinks of people around here? And are there particular variations that you find to be most common and that people like the most?
For sure. It is far and away the most ordered drink in Los Angeles. I was actually watching something on TikTok of Forbes doing the top 10 most ordered cocktails in the country, and margarita was number one. I think it's just because it's so simple and really refreshing, but also kind of boozy.
yeah,
It
can bump you on your butt.
Yeah.
Bump you on your bum.
And tequila or mezcal are uppers as opposed to every other spirit. And being in Los Angeles, I mean, Mexico's right there. You have an access to all that crazy, delicious tequila.
Do you have a
and
favorite
mezcal.
tequila?
One I really like is called Amititena.
Ooh.
I have a bottle there, Blanco. It's a smaller distillery, but it's got a whole bunch of different flavors in their Blanco. Like a lot of agave will bring you vanilla notes and like a little bit of grassiness. This one has like some cashew and maybe some green pepper, and it's super good.
I have a question, because
Yes.
the way you're describing tequila right now, you sound like a sommelier. And a sommelier, for those listening who don't know, is somebody who is like a wine expert. Obviously, you are a cocktail expert in my eyes. How do you learn those tasting notes? And like, are you just kind of like trying different alcohol constantly and just like to develop your palate?
I think, yes, to part of that question is when I was a beverage director, I was tasting a lot of different spirits weekly, every other day, and getting familiar with the nuances of each tequila, and all the reps that would taste them with me would tell me what I should be looking for or asking what I got. And then having a long hospitality background and food background also has helped with that. But in particular, I think agave, more so than any other spirit, uses a lot of the terroir kind of aspects that wine and grapes do, and has different nuances based on where it's made. Obviously, there's a lot of laws about where tequila can be made and where mezcal can be made and all the other siblings of those. But even like the altitude plays into the different types of agave that will grow and how it's harvested and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where that kind of sommelier vibe comes from. Is I think agave grows very interestingly and kind of lends itself, obviously in bourbon and whiskey, it's corn or rye. There's not really going to be
Much different.
too much difference between corn and rye.
Yeah, I love that. Well, for somebody who doesn't know the history about tequila, I mean, you definitely know a lot about where it comes from.
I know what it tastes like. I don't know where it comes from.
So, a little bit of background to jump in is that Tad designed the cocktails for Keetin and I's wedding.
Yes.
And that was a really fun process where we basically described to Tad each other's personalities, and then he made drinks based on that. I can't imagine that's normally what goes into ordering cocktails at a bar where you have that much time. But Tad, when you are designing a cocktail that you're adding to a menu, what's your process like? How do you approach it and kind of think about that?
So it's kind of two different styles. One is what are the trends in the cocktail world? So Dylan, one time you guys came in to my last place of work and had a cocktail that had goat cheese foam in it.
Gross.
I mean, I'll brief,
You loved it.
Very interjecting backstory. I remember walking in and Tad saying, "Oh, we have a cocktail that has cheese in it," and I said, "I've never had a cocktail with cheese in it that wasn't disgusting. I don't believe you can make a good cocktail with cheese in it." And Tad proved me wrong.
Yeah, I did. So yeah, foams were like a big trend, and I was reading a lot about foams, and I like a savory cocktail because you just drink more of them. So it and also it pairs well with food. And I'm mostly a restaurant bartender, not a bar bartender. So it's helpful to have something to pair with food that's not necessarily wine. And my other style is just kind of like flavors that I'm excited about, kind of going with that savory idea. So like I don't know, I hadn't had ube before I moved to Los Angeles and was like, what the hell is this bright purple thing? And then Trader Joe's is often just stacked with random ube things. And I was like, okay, I'm going to eat these and try them. And I was like, I need to make a cocktail with this. So I did that. And it was a big hit at the time. And that kind of lets you play there too. I like the creativity aspect and like goofy aspect of cocktail making. It's kind of why I lean towards spirits as opposed to wine, because there's so many rules with wine and the making of wine, and like it has to be this alcohol percentage, it has to be bottled at this time and all that kind of stuff. Whereas like the cocktail world is about creativity and fun. So that's kind of what drew me to it.
What's a way, can I just off of that? So obviously a margarita is a pretty basic drink. It's something everybody knows. Most bartenders, probably one of the first drinks they learn to make. Have you ever made a margarita or a variation of a margarita that you felt was really creative and innovative?
Yeah, so there's that ube one actually was a margarita riff.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What was in it?
So there's a fairly famous riff called an Infante, which came out, I don't know, within the last 20 years, that uses orgeat, which is a almond syrup instead of agave syrup, and a basic margarita, and they shave nutmeg over the top, so it's a little bit more savory, a little bit wintry, but I really like that because it also adds a little bit of texture and a little bit more body to it. So with the ube, which is kind of has connotations of sweetness, but isn't necessarily sweet and has like marshmallowy kind of flavors, I just leaned into the Southeast Asian cuisine and did Thai spice bitters and Thai basil and a peanut orgeat.
Oh my gosh.
So I made like peanut milk and made it as syrup, and it was good. And a little spicy.
That sounds
That
fascinating.
sounds so good.
And lime juice.
Of course, yeah. What kind of tequila? Oh, was it an ube tequila, or did you just
So I infused tequila with ube.
Wow.
Yeah,
You're a magician.
I try.
You obviously are somebody who super creative, very innovative when it comes to your cocktail meeting, and you take a lot of risk. Have you ever been shocked by a cocktail you've come across? And there's there one that comes to mind when you think about, oh, this cocktail was one of the wildest but still delicious cocktails I've ever had.
One of the coolest cocktails that I ever saw was at this place in London, and it had yogurt in it and some kind of ashes on top. And it was a vodka-based cocktail, and it was in a flute. I don't really remember what else was in it, but the yogurt, I love yogurt. I eat yogurt like every day. So I was like, I have to have this cocktail. And it was the perfect texture, and yogurt takes the place of any like juice that you need because it has acid in it already. So I've stolen that idea a couple times and used yogurt in cocktails just because it makes a thicker cocktail and you don't need acid, so you get to get rid of an ingredient, but also adding texture. And then the ashes, I don't remember what the ashes added, but it looked really pretty.
Do you have a favorite spirit to work with, and why?
To work with, I really like either gin or rum because I think they're the most playful. I think gin is like on the elegant side of playful, and then rum is
Dirty playful.
dirty playful. Exactly. Pirate playful.
Pirate
yeah.
playful. I was
Yeah. But rum has like a bunch of cousins that are like cachaça and pisco that are like similar but not, and can be like substituted. And yeah, you can just play with all kinds of different fruits and kinds of crazy stuff like that with rum and gin.
Gin is like, so you talked about the trends right now. What are some of the hottest trends in cocktails currently that you're seeing?
Let's see. I'm seeing a drive towards savory cocktails, but like lots of martini variations on one menu. Like a lot of places will do 6 or 7 martinis, and they'll all have them different ways. Maybe people just need a 4-ounce drink for whatever reason these days, like a martini. I'm also seeing a lot of like higher end or like vintage spirits being used in cocktails, like bottles from like the 70s
Wow.
being used in cocktails.
Do they age well? Like, is it like wine?
Yeah, it's not going to taste really any different than like wine has the tendency to like lose its flavor the more it ages. Whiskeys aren't really going to do that, or it's usually whiskey that I see that's like 60 years old. Wow. But I think it's like a bragging rights kind of deal.
Yeah.
For most people is to say I had like a $200 Manhattan with this 60-year-old whiskey.
You clearly go out of your way to learn a lot about different liquors, different ways of doing cocktails. What is it about designing cocktails and kind of creating in that way that kind of draws you to it?
Well, I've always been a creative person, and I came out here for entertainment and writing, and cocktail and creating cocktails has been the practical way to continue to create and make a living. And I think that there's I think cocktail culture in general is continuing to develop. I think wine has obviously had its heyday. Craft beer had its heyday like a decade ago. And I think cocktails are still kind of developing and are kind of in the peak right now. And so I think there's a lot of drive to, and there's also like a really cool community as for bar directors and people that are bartenders to get together and try spirits. And, obviously drinking's fun and community building. And just to kind of like brainstorm together collectively, like what are the new flavors? What are the new spirits what are the new liqueurs? That's what I really get excited about. It's like, what's this weird banana thing that somebody released? Or what's this weird rosemary liqueur or something? And I like to be like, have you had this tomorrow? Do you have this tomorrow?
You're a little cocktail snob or a little spirit snob over here.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, I guess that also kind of makes me realize it. Let me know if I'm wrong here, but it seems like there's kind of a community of bartenders, mixologists, whatever you want to call them, that it seems like you guys kind of nerd out together, and that it is kind of a cool community where you're really excited to share knowledge and see what other people are doing.
For sure. It's almost like drunken Pokemon cards or like Magic the Gathering. You're like, this is my deck, but it's a bar. And here's what I've made. Here's my hand with this cocktail. You're like, I did use this, and this together and tapping for mana.
I love that Magic the Gathering comparison. That's great. I've got some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay, wow.
I'm going to start out with a this or that.
I don't know what any of this means, but
I know. Well, we're going to focus on margaritas to start.
Okay.
Should people have their margaritas blended or on the rocks?
On the rocks.
Salt or sugar rim?
Salt.
Tequila or mezcal?
Mezcal.
Ooh.
Oh.
Wow.
I'm done. I'm out. If the margarita is not classic, what flavor?
Much to my chagrin, I don't like fruity ones,
You're
but
gonna say
strawberry.
I knew you would.
All right. I just walked into a random bar that I know nothing about, but I want to, know what kind of a bar they are. What kind of cocktail should I order?
I feel like a margarita is a pretty safe bet. Yeah.
Way to stick
I feel like if I feel like even a dive bar has to have some lime juice. Maybe a lime, the color questionable, and should be able to make you a margarita. And then fancy bars will make you a fancy one, and just neighborhood ones will make you a really decent one too.
What'd you make us today? Did you make us a fancy one? Did you make us a weird one? Or did you make us a neighborhood one?
I made you a neighborhood one with a little twist.
There's a lot of love in this.
Yeah.
You hear that? It's gorgeous. Favorite tiki drink?
Oh, Jungle Bird.
What is that?
That has Campari in it, so it's a little more bitter. The tiki drinks are often too much juice and too much sugar for me, but the Campari keeps it a little drier.
Nice.
It has orgeat and pineapple juice in it as well, I think, and rum, obviously. There's also a really good coffee one, but I don't remember any of the names for the tiki drinks. There's too many. Are we going to get tiki drinks after this? I know you're in pajamas, but
I'm around people that I want to impress. I don't know. Maybe it's a date. Maybe it's a business thing. I don't know. Up to you. But I want to look cool. What cocktail should I order if I want to look cool?
Well, don't be Dylan Cashbaum. No, I'm kidding.
Ouch.
I think a Manhattan. Yeah. Classic, but like boozy.
This is a double-ended question.
Okay.
You either go into a bar with your friends or you're at home and you want to make a cocktail. What is your go-to, just like going to the bar, ordering a cocktail, just anywhere? And then what is the cocktail you like to make yourself the most?
If they can do a white Negroni with mezcal, mezcal white Negroni.
Oh,
But they have to have white vermouth
that seems
or
fancy.
blanc vermouth.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm a Negroni fan, but I don't know what a white Negroni is.
What is that?
It has blanc vermouth instead of sweet vermouth. So it's white, but sweeter. It's a little more like if sweet vermouth has cola flavors, blanc vermouth has like sarsaparilla and flavors, like root beery kind of flavors and herbaceous flavors. And then you're either going to have, instead of Campari, which is the red bitter element, you're going to have either Suze or bitter Bianco, probably. Very delicious.
And then what are you making yourself?
Same thing.
He's a simple man.
Yeah, white
Our
Negronis
dad.
if I can.
What are some faux pas that people do most often when they come up to you at the bar that we can tell people not to do from now on?
Don't order another bar's drink at a bar that's not that bar. That's the biggest one. And then this is sort of on the person bartending or serving you. If you're not a big drinker and you don't know what a martini or a Manhattan or anything spirit forward is, they should tell you that it's spirit forward and it's going to be strong. But don't send a drink back because it's too strong. It's alcohol. It's going to be strong.
Fair.
What if you just don't like it? Okay.
Oh.
I've embarrassed a lot of friends about this, but like I love cocktails and I love when I go to a restaurant, if I see the cocktail menu, I love trying something on the menu, but I will usually ask my server or bartender and say, this is what I'm feeling. What would you recommend? And if they recommend something to me that is not at all what I had asked for, and I spend like almost $20 on a cocktail and I just don't like it, I'm not going to drink it. And like, I'm going to be really nice about it, but I might send it back because I took your suggestion and you were totally like wrong. Is that bad, Tad? Oh,
I would say, see if you're with people, see if any of your friends will drink it for you and take it off, add it to their portion of the tab, and then failing that, you can send it back, and obviously we want you to be happy, so we'll make you something different.
Well, I know it's not the bartender's fault. It was the server's fault
it's-
who's recommended something that was completely not what I wanted.
Yes. So
I don't blame you, Tad.
at a certain point, there's not going to be. You get one. You get one of those of I don't like this. I send it back. Can I have something else?
Perfect. Thank you, Tad. I will follow those rules from now on, but then I will always just make Dylan drink it.
Yeah,
as long
that's
as
true.
he's not my DD. I know you're a bartender full time and you're a really good bartender and mixologist, but you also have a huge passion for rescue dogs and
I do.
advocating for shelter dogs. Maybe just give us kind of your pitch and why people need to adopt and not shop.
I think, particularly in Los Angeles, there's and any big city in the United States, is an economic problem where people can't afford their dogs or whatever. There's too many dogs for apartment living and all that kind of thing. And for whatever reason, there's too many dogs in shelters, and they're all really good dogs. And I'm always of the opinion that there are no bad dogs, just bad owners. If you put in the effort and the time, any dog can be exactly what you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to get a dog as a puppy to mold it into the dog you want it to be. You can have a dog 2 years old. You can have an older dog, a senior dog, and it will love you just the same, and you'll be saving it from a stressful situation or a dire situation, and you'll feel that much better about it than just buying a puppy.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll have done something that's good for the world. Somebody else will buy that puppy, probably.
Yeah.
But not everybody's going to adopt that senior dog or that dog that has just a couple hours left. So I've done that 3 times now, and it's worked out pretty good. And yeah, I love all my 3 boys very much, and it's tough having 3 dogs by yourself, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
So adopt.
Yeah,
Don't shop.
adopt.
Go to
Yeah.
your local shelter, volunteer for local rescues.
Yeah.
Even if you want a specific breed, there are rescues all around the country that specify in specific breeds. But yeah,
Yeah, and you might run into like a weird crossbreed. My dog Tango is like a pit bull and a French bulldog, and he looks really weird but really handsome at the same time. And people stop me on the street and are like, "What is that dog?" He just looks like a giant French bulldog, and he's the coolest dog and such a sweet dog and has so much life and curiosity about him. And he had like, I was his last option.
Yeah.
He would not be here if it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So, and it's a shame that there's so many dogs that are like that people don't even know about.
yeah. So out there, adopt, don't shop. We have a wonderful foster puppy right now named Archie.
If you want to adopt instead of shop, have a look at Archie on West Side German Shepherd Rescue.
Anyway, no, I just know that's something that you're really passionate about and a huge part of who you are. So I
Hey,
just
maybe
wanted
that was
to
going to be
give
his hot cocoa.
Yeah,
don't
if
know.
you find me at one of my bars and you show me your dog you adopted, I will buy you a drink.
What?
Whoa, you heard it here. This is a Channeling Hallmark
Exclusive.
If you find Tad, show him your rescue dog. You will get a free drink. And that's, you guys, Tad makes pretty fancy cocktails. That's a
Very good
pretty
drinks.
big offer. It's our first offer on the show.
That's true.
It's pretty cool. Thank you for that, Tad.
Yeah, of course.
So one thing we do on the show every week is we share our hot cocoa, which is something that we have experienced or seen or learned that brings us that warm and fuzzy feeling that, everything's going to be okay. So we would love to know if you have any hot cocoa that you would want to share this week.
Yeah. So it's kind of a bittersweet moment, but I live in a duplex bungalow, and my neighbors of 4 years in the other half of my bungalow just moved out this week, and they were awesome. I like almost never locked my door because I knew they were home all the time, and they were around and really friendly. And one of them helped me get a dog crate out of my eye, or called the ambulance when I had a dog crate in my eye. That's a separate story.
Yeah, that's a story for another
For
episode.
part two.
Yep.
But they left this week, and they left me their washer and dryer, and we weren't like super close. Like, I played video games sometimes with the guy and the couple, and had drinks outside with the lady and the couple sometimes, but we didn't spend like hours and hours together. And then when they were leaving last night, I was hugging them, and they're like, "Let me know if you need anything." And the guy was like, "We love you." And it was very unexpected, and it was just like, it was so effortless for him to say that. And that was just such a cool and nice, it was a cool character trait for him, and it's such a nice thing to say. And I was like, "Oh, I love you guys too." Even though we weren't necessarily close, but their absence is big, and they were a part of my home and what made my place that I live in so nice. So that was my hot cocoa, and something I aspire to be, to just say I love you to people effortlessly and mean it.
I got the chills.
Yeah.
That's really
Just got a
sad.
little
That
emotional
was
there.
sad. Oh my gosh. And they gave you their washer dryer because you don't understand that is love.
That is
love
That
in
is
a
love.
city like
Yeah.
Los Angeles. A washer and dryer.
Yeah, my
is
life
love.
has changed. And every time I do my laundry, I'll think of them. So,
That's on probably a daily basis with those boys.
yeah, for sure.
If people really enjoyed listening to you and want to learn more about what you got going on in your life, where can they find more information about you or follow you? Metaphorically, not literally.
You can follow me at Tad Tobey on Instagram.
Amazing.
It's mostly dog stuff, and then the occasional cocktail post, but right now mostly dog stuff.
If you like cocktails and dogs, follow Tad. That's who doesn't like that.
If they want to come show you their picture of a rescue dog, where should they try to find you?
Right now, I'm at a place called Verse LA in Toluca Lake.
There you have it. You want a free drink? You want to go visit Tad? There you have it.
I just want to say that I would be buying the drink with my credit card, not the business.
This is a personal Tad
Yeah.
Tobey drink. Well, thank you so much, Tad. And hope everyone enjoyed listening to Tad's words of wisdom.
And thanks for this delicious margarita.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Cheers.
Cheers.
That was our favorite bartender, Tad Tobey. And that is our episode of Channeling Hallmark, all about margaritas.
Celebrating National Margarita Day.
I hope you all had a really wonderful National Margarita Day.
Isn't it wild that National Margarita Day is in February?
It is. I never would have guessed. I would not think of that as being a heavy margarita time in February.
I agree, but what a way to continue my birthday month with
There we go.
margaritas.
I love it. Now, if other people are really feeling the margarita joy and want to, tell us about their margarita days, how can they do that, Keetin?
You guys can follow us on social media at Channeling Hallmark on Instagram, YouTube, Blue Sky. You can follow our individual social medias at Keetin Markey and at DP Cashbaugh. I got you, boo. Are you going to rate this on Letterboxd?
I'm going to rate this on Letterboxd. I hope it's on Letterboxd.
I don't know,
but my Letterboxd is also at DP Cashbaugh, and you can hopefully see my rating of I'll be home for National Margarita Day there.
With a 4 of a marshmallow rating. Who knows what it will be?
We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know what that translates to stars. You're going to have to look on Letterboxd to find out. And as we've said before, we really want to hear what everyone's feedback is. So please leave a rating, review, comment. We really want to hear what our audience thinks. So let us know.
Yeah.
But don't forget to channel Hallmark in your life.
Stay cozy, y'all. Bye-bye.
Channeling Hallmark is an independently produced podcast and is neither sponsored nor sanctioned by Hallmark or any other entity. Thank you for listening.